It's two different styles.
Yeah.
And we all knew, like, whoever wins the most of this little war we got going on, whoever wins the most chips, basketball is headed in that style. That's what was scary about, like, we knew it meant more because we like, bro, like, the kids are gonna either continue to go to the post and want to shoot fadeaways, or they gonna think this shit okay. This shooting this shit from half court shit. Like, we was talking, we've been talking about this shit. Like, I remember me and Switch, like, man, he want to shoot that shit from 40. Let him shoot that shit from 40. Fuck him. Like, that's the conversation me and so hey, Switch, man, fuck him. You want to shoot that shit from 40? Let him shoot that shit from 40, dog. Shoot that all night, nigga. Like, that's how I'm feeling when I'm really on the court. Like,
yeah, go ahead. Let him.
Bro, I wish you would. Pull that, bro. Please, before we can run this down y'all throat. Like, please shoot that.
Yeah.
That's how we felt about it. Till this little motherfucker start making it.
Yeah.
But it's like, once he started making it, now T. Lou looking at us at the drawing board like, hey, y'all gonna get out there? Shump, what we gonna do? You shocked?
Yeah.
You shocked he making it now? Like, it got to that point. It's like, bro, when I think about it now, I'm just like, bro, I keep saying basketball changed, like they ruined it type of thing, but I'm like, you ruined the version that I like.
What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Like, share, subscribe, comment. IG TikTok on the video, and we just gonna hop right into it. So today, obviously, this isn't your typical video of me, investigative journalism. Today, I will be doing another edition of still haven't came up with a name for it, but deep dive series. This one will kind of be more a film breakdown. Still, these two have been centered around basketball, so that'll be what I'll be doing today. If you haven't seen the last one, it's the Pat Riley. He did pretty decent, so check that out. But that's what we'll be doing today. So first, let me explain like what's going to be going on in this video. So what's going on in this video basically is I'll be running through starting with the 2010 Lakers all the way. Well, basically I did 5 teams: 2010 Lakers, the 2012 Heat, 2014 Spurs, the 2016 Warriors, and the current Celtics. Well, I did it last year's film, but this is the same iteration, same shit. But basically, I did a film breakdown, and originally when I had, came up with this video idea, I was trying to show how the San Antonio Spurs were really the reason for how basketball is played today. And that is still partially true, but as I studied more film of these championship teams from the past 15, 20 years, I was able to see that basketball was probably heading in this direction anyway. So a lot of the actions that even the 2010 Lakers and the Heat and the ideas and concepts that they were thinking of were still very similar to the Warriors and Spurs. Now, I think the Spurs and Warriors just took it to a whole new level, especially with the free-flowing basketball. But yeah, I feel like a basketball was heading this way anyway, even if, we don't have the Warriors who were possibly the greatest team ever and the Spurs who are definitely like the greatest, the prettiest basketball we've ever seen. So I definitely thought we was going in that direction anyway. So I will say what we're, looking for in these videos to compare to current offenses. Obviously heavy ball screens, dribble handoffs, the matchup hunting, and the free flowingness of the offenses. So obviously, free flowing offense. So that's basically it, and we're just gonna, get into the film. The play begins with Kobe Bryant. He brings the ball up. He's at the top of the key. He passes the ball to Paul Gasol, who's at the elbow. Ron Artest is at the other elbow. Andrew Bynum is at the block, and Derek Fisher is in the corner. As we know, creating a triangle shape that Phil Jackson is known for. As we can see next, it transitions into a dribble handoff for Kobe Bryant, who gets downhill for a layup. But besides the triangle offense and it being a set that they run all game itself, this is a known facet of today's game, dribble handoff. Now, it may be from a different angle and ran in a different way, but this is still a dribble handoff. As we can see here, Kobe Bryant is at the top of the key. Paul Gasol is setting him a high ball screen with Andrew Bynum at the free throw line. Derek Fisher in one corner, Ron Artest in the other corner. Bynum, Fisher, and Artest are forming the triangle shape. Like I said, a key component in this offense. As we can see, Paul Gasol sets a high ball screen for Kobe Bryant. Naturally, early 2010s defenses didn't care about receiving threes, so the corner man crashes on Gasol, leaving a wide open Artest in the corner. This possession started with a high ball screen, as we're going to see in many future offenses going forward. As we can see here, Kobe is at the top of the key. Now this is after Paul Gasol sets him a screen. I just wanted to show y'all the triangle in the set that they're usually in. So it's actually a couple triangles on the screen if you pay attention. All right. So as you can see, Paul Gasol again, well, not really sets him a screen, but kind of ghosts the screen into a pull up. Now it was nothing special offensively on this possession, but I just wanted to show how committed the Lakers were to this triangle set. Currently, Ron Artest has the ball. He is forming the triangle with Shannon Brown and Andrew Bynum, while Kobe and Paul Gasol are isolating on the other side of the court. As we can see, Brown swings the ball to Artest, one of the few possessions Kobe doesn't bring the ball up the court, but they swing it back to Kobe, who turns it into another high pick and roll with Gasol, as we can see, and as I already said, a facet of this offense and future NBA offenses. I wanted to study non-Kobe Bryant minutes as well. So here you can see the triangle is formed with Paul Gasol, Lamar Odom, and Sausage Vujacic. So basically, without Kobe Bryant in the game, they went heavy ISO posting up Paul Gasol. This is reminiscent of the dead ball era that was ending at this time, as well as this clearing out, post up and on the left side of the floor for their stars is a staple of offensive here in a couple years going forward. As I already said, Vucevic, Odom, and Gasol form the triangle. Odom passes to Gasol for the post up. Now Gasol goes middle and take a tough jumper. It's not really nothing special here. I just wanted to show something different out the triangle offense, and that it was a play drawn up for Gasol to take his primary defender off the dribble instead of a mismatch. Here, I wanted to showcase one of the few times that Kobe Bryant got off the ball at the top of the key and went inside the triangle himself. As we can see, Derek Fisher begins at the top of the key, where he passes it to Ron Artest, where Kobe Bryant loops around, forms a triangle to the other end, and Derek Fisher and Ron Artest isolate on their side. They run a pick and roll, where Artest passes it to 21 in the corner, and 21 decides to shoot the shot. Now, Kobe wrong for winning the ball right here, just being funny. But also, what I wanted to show here, as this is another example of a future component of future offenses where you have a non-traditional screener and Ron Artest, who is really playing the three here, who is screening for Derek Fisher in the action. You've just seen the film breakdown of the 2010 Lakers. The 2010 Lakers, like I said, are a heavy set team, very much working out the triangle. We know Phil Jackson for the triangle with Michael Jordan and Kobe as well. So we've known this coming from a Phil Jackson team. So they obviously working very heavy around the triangle on different scenarios. Now, what was definitely unique about it, well, not unique, but a little different about it, is in that shows in current offenses that Kobe was definitely the lead ball handler, even though he wasn't your point guard. He was your best player, but he was really your shooting guard. He was really the lead ball handler as they let Derek Fisher basically, play. I ain't gonna say play corner man, but he was in the corner a lot. And they just really worked off the triangle. And they also did have hints of the older basketball when they did, go ISO heavy with Paul Gasol and non Kobe Bryant minutes, but they really stick to a very specific game plan, which is very different and not as free flowing as today's game. As we can see, Dwayne Wade is at the top of the key with the ball. Chris Bosh and Shane Battier are coming to set him double screens, while Mario Chalmers goes to the corner and LeBron James is on the right block. This possession starts with Chalmers on the wing. Battier and Bosh set a down screen for Wade to come to the top of the key. Battier and Bosh then re-screen for Wade. Bosh rolls, Battier pops. They double Wade off the screen. The guy tries to stop Bosh on the roll, but then he reacts to Battier on the pop, and then Bosh gets a wide over for a dunk. I put that in there because this is another set that the Heat were very consistent to, similar to the Lakers being consistent to the triangle offense. As we can see here, this is another similar set with Battier and Bosh at both elbows, Wade at top, Chalmers on the wing, and LeBron, well, he's out of bounds currently, but in the dunker spot. Now, as we can see, Wade flies out to the top. Chalmers passes on the ball. They set another double ball screen for Wade with Bosh and Battier. Now, Bosh doesn't roll as hard. This time, Wade goes off the dribble, and LeBron then tries to put it back in. But I just wanted to show another example of how the Heat were committed to the set, just like the Lakers were committed to the triangle. Now, this possession, they did get into a different set. As we can see here with LeBron at the top of the key wing area, Wade on the wing, and Battier, not pictured here, but in the corner. Now, Bosh and Chalmers are here setting a high screen roll with the 5-man. Like I said, high screen roll is a thing that is very valuable in today's NBA. This possession starts with a high screen roll on the wing for Chalmers to the left-hand side. He passes back to LeBron at the top of key. Now, it's not nothing too special offensively on this possession, but like I said, I just wanted to show how this possession started with a high screen roll, something that happens a lot in today's NBA and future offenses we will see going forward. This possession right here, they show more of a futuristic spacing with the 4 out, 1 in, Bosh in the dunker spot, and actually having their 1 through 4 be out on the perimeter. This possession begins with a dribble handoff from Chalmers to Wade. Wade then passes to Bron, who gets a screen from Bosh, who had already set him an off-ball screen. Bron then passes back to Wade at the top of the key. Wade swings it. Chalmers swings it. Battier attacks off the dribble. And then he passes it to LeBron, which creates another driving kick situation. Now he passes it to Chalmers. Chalmers makes a decision, attacks, gives it to Bron. Now Bron turns this into a side step 3. Now I put this in here because, one, this is very reminiscent of the driving kick situations that we see a lot in today's game, as well as the ending result. A driving kick turns into a side step 3, which is very, very, very similar to something we will see today. Here's a possession we actually see Bron bring the ball up the court in his kind of natural point guard position. Now, we already seen that Battier and Bosh, they love them at the elbows, but this time is one of the few times they actually get into a horn set, and we're going to see what they do from here. I added this possession because it was a different wrinkle on something they had already been doing. Like I said, one, they started in the horn set. Two, it became with Bron, and it turns into a dribble handoff into Wade. Into, like I said, I already said they were running with the double pick and roll, and the rest of the plays just them playing basketball off of that. Now, as the game progressed, the Heat began to isolate Wade and LeBron on this wing, posting up. Now, I believe this was more of them attacking mismatches. They consistently went after Westbrook and Harden in these post-ups, and this is something that we've seen Bron do from time to time, and a lot of people do in the NBA now. Now, Bron gets straight into it. Like I said, they were attacking the mismatch. He saw Westbrook. He said, let's get straight into it. Now, what I liked about this is this turned into a dribble handoff for Wade to get downhill. Now, this is definitely something reminiscent of today's game. Now you probably just seen the 2012 breakdown of the Heat. Now the Heat were a little more similar to the Lakers, where they definitely stay consistent to a set, as I showed you with the double pick and roll and Bron being in the dunker spot. They did switch it up a little bit, but a lot of their sets were very consistent of that, even if they verified the variation of who was handling it or where they were at on the court. A lot of their sets were very consistent, so they wasn't as free flowing as today, but they were a little more free flowing than the Lakers. Beginning with the Spurs film, the Spurs actually ran something similar to the Heat, where they run this double ball screen out of the horn set and where one pops and one rolls. Here's where the Spurs film differs from the Heat. As we can see with Ginobili, Duncan, and Leonard all being below the free throw line, they set a high ball screen with Parker and Diaw, who is actually their four-man, because they plan for Diaw to pop, and they allow Diaw to make a lot of more decisions in their offense. Now here we see more futuristic optimal spacing with the 4 out 1 in, as we can see with D out and Parker being in the corners and Leonard and Ginobili being on the wings, while Duncan is operating in the middle of the floor at the top of the key inside the arc. This possession begins with D.I. with the ball. He then passes to Tim Duncan, who is in the middle of the floor inside the arc. Turns it to a dribble handoff with Ginobili. Duncan rolls. Nature of 2010's defenses, they wanted to prevent the layup, so this leaves the corner man wide open. The next clip will feature two possessions, but they're very similar possessions, so that's why I did that. Now here we go with the 4 out 1 in spacing again, where we have Bonner in the left corner, Mills in the right corner, Kawhi at the top of the key, and then Duncan, the 5-man, sets another high ball screen for Ginobili, and they work from there. Again here with the 4 out 1 in spacing, with Duncan being the 5-man. Now it doesn't much come from this possession, as there's a lot of attempts just to drive and kick, but I wanted to really emphasize the free flowingness of their offense compared to the Heat and the Lakers, who are running a lot of offense out of sets. And now you've just seen the 2014 Spurs film. The 2014 Spurs, like I said, they played obviously the prettiest basketball we may have ever seen, team basketball wise. Now they are a lot more free flowing than the last two teams we have previously discussed, as I've shown you with the film. 4 out 1 in, a lot of screen and roll to initiate, some dribble handoffs. Now obviously, like I said, some teams, your team is going to be built around your best player. So the Spurs and Warriors offenses are very similar, but obviously the Spurs are going to let Tim Duncan have the ball in his hands a lot more because it is Tim Duncan. Even though Andrew Bogut was actually a pretty decent skill passer and decision maker as a center, it's still Tim Duncan at the end of the day. Moving on to Warriors film. Now, the Warriors and the Spurs ran a very, very similar offense, as you will begin to see. Now, here we get 4 out 1 in spacing, with Bogut being the 5-man there on the block. Now, I will say the difference between the spacing for the Spurs and the Warriors is the Spurs seem to have more balanced spacing, where they would have somebody in the middle of the floor, whereas the Warriors, a lot of times you'll see they'll have 2 on one side and 3 on the other side, kind of trying to isolate their defenders in these. Now, Klay and Draymond are on one side of the floor. Now, Draymond kind of goes to the screen, which is Thunder switch. They didn't immediately get it down to Draymond as they are attacking Westbrook, a mismatch you will see a lot in here with the Warriors, and he throws an alley-oop when the help steps up. Now, I put this in here just for the specific fact of them attacking a mismatch. The Warriors are clearly attacking Westbrook if you watch this film. Now, this play doesn't show their optimal spacing, but it does show their spacing principles. As you can see, Harrison Barnes begins to clear out as soon as you see Draymond and Curry trying to run a 2-man game. Now, Draymond does a similar thing he did on the last possession, where he sets it. Draymond then he tries to attack Westbrook in the post again, but Curry just goes on the ISO and attacks KD. Now, this is another great example of their spacing principles, as we can see 2 isolated to one side of the court. Now, in this possession, Draymond fakes a dribble handoff and then gets downhill to Klay Thompson. Now, this is what I put this possession in here to show that the Warriors always started their offensive possession with either a dribble handoff or a pick and roll, just to force the defense into some kind of action, as well as this also shows the free flowingness of their offense. This possession doesn't really show their normal spacing principles, as this is actually one of the first few set plays we're going to see the Golden State Warriors run in this game, as they run a series of dribble handoffs into a screen and roll. This is one of the few possessions where I actually see even floor balancing from the Golden State Warriors. But I left this possession in there because one, Clay attacks a mismatch of Westbrook once again by posting up, but this play also begins with a high screen and roll. So it has multiple of the things that I say are in futuristic offensive, as we know that the Golden State is kind of the grandfather for them. Now, another possession that begins with the high screen and roll for the Warriors. Now, it doesn't too much differently besides their free flowing basketball happen on this possession, but I just wanted to show here about, again, another possession going with a high screen and roll, as well as the Warriors don't really care who sets the screen and who has the ball when the screen is set. This is about the fourth different example of a different ball handler and screener. Now, you've probably just seen the 2016 Warriors film. Now, like I said, the Warriors and the Spurs were very similar in their free flowing, the ball screens to initiate action, the dribble handoffs. But the Warriors took the free flowingness to a whole new level, as well as introducing different spacing principles. And the Warriors and the Spurs, you will see, have a big effect on offenses current today, as we have seen with the Celtics. As I stated, the Celtics do run a lot of five wide, but right here shows they are using the 4 out 1 in, like a lot of other teams that we have discussed. Now, what's unique about this 4 out 1 in for them right now is that, one, they had the two guard Derek White come up and set the screen, and that their actual point guard is the one inside the arc. Here's a better example of their five wide. Now, I put this play in here to really give you a look into the Celtic psyche. As we can see, Derek White is actually the one setting the screen for Tatum. It doesn't turn into much, but Tatum is really trying to attack Grimes, the mismatch off of ISO, which shows that they are trying to get people to switch and attack the mismatch. This is another example of their five wide. Well, I put this one in here because, one, it's another ball handler that they're using, as well as they don't really care about who's the screener, as their point guard is one of the screeners for the double screen. As well, it's another possession that starts with the screen. Now, this is another example of their spacing, but this is where their spacing differs a little bit from a team like the Warriors. Now, as we've seen with the Warriors would attack the two-man side. The Celtics on this possession decided to attack the three-man side, as Hauser sets a down screen for Jaylen Brown to get the dribble handoff that gets him downhill. Now, I have shown you multiple teams that have used dribble handoffs like this to get one of their star players down here, even before the Warriors. Now, this is another one that you're going to see two clips of the same idea back to back. Now, here, even in an early transition situation like this where Tatum gets the ball, he identified the mismatch immediately, and he takes advantage of that. Now, he may not get down here as most people want him to do, but as soon as he sees Jericho Sims in two possessions, he attacks that mismatch. Now, this play is nothing special, as we just seen them run a similar play a couple possessions ago, just from a different part of the court. I just use this possession to show how they really, like I said, like the Warriors, do not care who is handling and who screens it. As we seen multiple possessions ago, that White was actually the screener for Tatum, and here they're using White as the ball handler for two ball screens. Now you've probably just watched the 2024 Celtics film. Now the Celtics, I chose the Celtics because I feel like they're the epitome of what you would think of offensive basketball looks like today, with just the amount of threes they shoot and how well rounded they are with a lot of skill and a lot of ball handlers. So I thought they were a great example. So as I've shown y'all, they are very inspired by the Warriors and Spurs. Now they shoot even more threes than them. Threes have just become increasingly more popular. But the way that they're getting their threes, the way they're trying to go about it, the not caring who screens and who handles it, anybody can do it, is definitely very Spurs and well, it's more Warrior like, because the Spurs are a little more constructed, not very much more, but just a little bit. But the Boston Celtics are their offense is very reminiscent of the Warriors, and I feel like we just shown that today. So I appreciate y'all for sitting here and watching this long video of my film breakdown. Something I'm trying new. I hope y'all enjoy it. Obviously give feedback and things like that. Appreciate it. Like I said, I originally came into this video thinking I was going to say, like the Spurs really, help basketball, but I just, my ended thought and my thesis changed, I guess, with the research. Basketball was going in this direction anyway. Now, the threes might have just become a thing that more and more they wouldn't have been as many threes, but basketball and the way it's played, the fast pace and the matchup hunting and the ball screens, it was going in this direction this day. So anyway, I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Like, share, subscribe, comment. I just talk about the video, and we out.